We have a rare treat today. We aren't interviewing a wrestler per se, but you're going to want to listen regardless. We have an actor, comedian, filmmaker, dancer, a little bit of everything. Please welcome Nathan Barnatt. It's great to have you on the show today. How's everything going?
Hey, it's going good. Everything is amazing. Can't complain. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Yeah, we're doing amazing. Now, I
Nice.
just want to say for fans that are tuning in right now who may not be familiar with your body of work, can you kind of give us, since we're talking wrestling, can you cut a promo, about yourself, what you've done, where people may know you from?
Yeah, well, you may have seen me in a few hundred commercials. I've done a lot of commercials. A lot of people remember me as the creepy M&M's guy. I was in an M&M's commercial that aired for like 2 years. I've done some Comedy Central pilots, Adult Swim pilots, a lot of stuff that you haven't seen. But I think my biggest following is through my videos, my internet videos. I do a lot of physical comedy, and a lot of people say I'm like a new Jim Carrey, so / Andy Kaufman maybe. But then I also dance, and my dance videos get really popular. But I would never consider myself a dancer because I just kind of I've never been trained. I just like to dance, and sometimes it looks good. But yeah, I'm the big physical mess, I guess.
All right. Now, what was your childhood like? I mean, did you have a lot of crazy fun times, or how did it mold you to become this, comedian, actor, dancer now too? How was it? Did you have fun growing up?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun growing up. Everything was always just great. We were on. I mean, everyone says this, but we were like borderline poor, me and my family. Back in Massachusetts, we didn't have like any money. My dad was a carpenter, and my mom was like a secretary. And my dad, he would build us like really elaborate tree forts in the woods with like zip lines and rope bridges and Tarzan swings and trapdoors, and it was awesome. So me and my two brothers, I'm the middle of two brothers. And we're all like best friends. So we all hung out together. Everything was always awesome. I never drank in high school. I never got into drugs. I never did anything like bad. I was just kind of like a good kid. I still don't swear. So a lot of people ask me if I'm Mormon, but I'm not Mormon. I just kind of like to keep it PG, I guess. My parents are happy. My dad has an enormous mustache. He plays the bagpipes, and my mom is an insane person. She thinks she's like the funniest person in the world. And I think that's where I get it from, is my mom's personality.
That's awesome. Now,
yeah.
Were you a fan of wrestling growing up?
Yeah, I was always a huge fan of wrestling. I don't remember when I started watching, but I remember Hulk Hogan, obviously, and Ultimate Warrior were like the two guys that I noticed when I was very young. I was born in 81, so I think I was around 5 when I really started like noticing, or being able to like actually pay attention to wrestling, maybe 5 or 6. But I really liked Hulk Hogan because he was like the guy that you were always seeing. So I just liked him because he was in front of me. But Ultimate Warrior now is who I have stuck with. His energy, it's amazing. Kind of reminds me of like sort of, in a way, I don't know, the punk rock of wrestling from the 80s, like the Kurt Cobain of wrestling, because he's just intense and he just stood out. I don't know. That's a weird comparison, but that's how I always think of it. And as my character Keith, we haven't gotten into him yet, but he's kind of like, I try to embody that, like the ignorant and positive energy, and he thinks he's a force to be reckoned with, even if you wouldn't assume it. He's like the Kurt Cobain / Ultimate Warrior in his mind. That doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of how I think about when I'm like doing Keith in the whole wrestling bit.
Sure. Now we have something in common. We're both born in 81, but did you ever want to become a wrestler, or was it just that you were a fan of wrestling?
It was just that I was a fan of wrestling. I never really thought about becoming a wrestler. I liked physical comedy like my whole life. I really liked like just falling down and stuff like that. And then I discovered Jim Carrey. He was like really big to me. Then I discovered Buster Keaton later. I was like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. So I've always kind of like, I'm obviously a physical comedian. That's like most of what I do. And I feel like wrestling is in a way physical comedy. If you did like what Shawn Michaels does out on a street corner, it's not wrestling, it's physical comedy. but you could be doing the same exact movement, you know, bending around and flopping around and dangling from the top rope. If you're dangling from like a mailbox or a tree branch, it's not wrestling. So I think if you just, it's the same thing in a way. I think some of the wrestlers are some of the best physical comedians in the world, and no one really thinks of it like that. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
I just think it's a new area to do physical comedy. And you can do some crazy physical feats and like some impressive moves, and it can be funny. And I've always liked the comedic aspect of wrestling, like you know, Doink the Clown and just the characters that were different and got a different reaction out of you, instead of just like intense and tough. Like the Ultimate Warrior got you pumped up, but I also like the Gold Dust because he was like bothering people. I loved watching audiences hate him, and like, you know, middle America people who just like weren't as open-minded would like to get so offended by him, and I just love that. That's like also the Andy Kaufman in me that like likes getting a reaction and pushing the boundaries. And like you can kind of see that in some of my prank videos, or just like, you know, breaking the rules a little bit. It's just kind of fun to like do something else. So I like the other thing. Like I'm not like I am a John Cena fan, but not like I would never say he's like one of my favorites. Because I just don't like the standard. I'm a tough white guy with muscles. Like it's just been done a billion times.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see someone do something completely different that I've never seen before. And be able to wrestle. That's like, oh, cool. And they can wrestle, and they got this whole other gimmick that no one's doing. That's like cool that they thought of something else and were able to do something original. So, yeah, I don't remember the original question. I started rambling. I tend to rant. So if I start rambling,
no, that's fine, man.
You
You were talking too about physical comedy. Now I've seen, you know, the photos on your Facebook and your website. You like to stick your head in a lot of things and just like,
yeah.
What's behind that? Because I've seen one where your head's sticking out of like the hood of a car, and it's just like you're dangling there. How did this come about? Did you just want to stick your head in something, or what?
It was kind of like when planking was a thing. I did a video called Going Ostrich, and I was like, oh, it's going to be like the new thing. I'm going to start a thing called Going Ostrich, and it's just sticking your head in different things. But I tried to stick in things that were like very unique instead of just like a mailbox or something. Like, so I stuck in the back of a car, and we drove down the street, dragging me just by my neck down the street. And then I stuck it in like a big bag of cash at the ATM and the stove and just cabinets and just other things. I think it's a funny image of just someone's head stuck and their body's dangling like a dead rag. I think it's like hilarious looking.
It is. So how did this not catch on? How did this not catch on already? Keep it going.
Well, my thing was, a lot of people were like, this is so funny, but I can't do it. Like, no one could pull it off because it hurts. And like, you have to really, really have some good body control and like a strong neck to handle it.
Sure.
And it's like all in the way to do it right is like, you have to hang like loose and limp so it looks like you've died,
yeah.
But you don't want to snap your neck, so you have to kind of like put one. I use my arm to like prop myself up like a kickstand in a way, but I kind of make it look like it's gone limp. So it's like a very strategic move, depending on the thing you're sticking your head in. So it's kind of dangerous, and I think that's why it didn't catch on, because I've been lots of pictures. People have sent me pictures of them like doing it, and it's always like, well, you tried, because it's hard to do. So planking, you can just lay down on your stomach. It's real easy. So mine was a little bit more difficult.
All right.
But now, it caught on. The video got like 1 million views pretty quick. So I was happy. I was like, all right, it worked.
Nice.
Now, you mentioned that you had a lot of comedic influences, Jim Carrey, Andy Kaufman, and so on. They kind of got their start, I guess, doing stand-up. Have you done a lot of stand-up yourself?
Yeah, so I don't do stand-up, but I do characters, and they'll do, I guess, stand-up. I perform at the Upright Citizens Brigade. I'm like one of the performers over there. I'll just do my different characters, and they'll come out and do like a 5-minute monologue or like a 10-minute monologue, depending on the show. But I always like to stay in character. Characters are like my favorite thing. That's why I think that kind of like what I do kind of works with WWE, because I have like all these very different types of characters that are so different from each other. Like one of my characters is a self-defense instructor with a wooden peg leg, and he lives in a van. So he makes VHS self-defense tapes that he records over rented videos over the previews, and then he returns them to the video store. So when people rent them, they're forced to see his self-defense commercials. That's like his whole gimmick. Even though video stores aren't really a thing anymore. But yeah, so I like doing characters, and I do them live, and it's fun to do like the peg leg guy, for instance, live, because people are staring at me like, where is his leg? So I bend my leg up like behind my butt, and then I duct tape it really flat to my butt so it stays like super flat. And then I put the pants on like that, and the peg is attached to a knee pad. So it looks like I have one wooden leg. So a lot of times people don't know if they should laugh because they feel like they're offending me because they're like, oh no, this weird man with a wooden leg is like performing. Is he serious? And I like that more than just people just straight up laughing. But now people go to my shows who know me, they know the character because the character is popular on the internet. So they'll come and they'll like get into it. But it's always funny to see like someone's girlfriend sitting up there who's never seen me before, and they're just questioning it the whole time and they don't know how to react. I like those reactions because they think he's for real. Then it's like, okay, that's a compliment because they don't know. And like, I will never break in front of people. I don't like to go in and out of character. I do these tours as the Keith character. And I do like shows and he sings his songs and stuff. And I do appearances at video game conventions. And I will never break character because I like people seeing Keith. Keith is like the person they're there to see. Well, maybe some people might want to see me, but I'd rather just be Keith. So Keith is like this, like, you know, in a way like this, this experience. So I even shattered my heel one year at a convention, and I did the whole show, an hour-long show on one foot, and I was still diving off into the crowd and stuff.
Wow.
Just because I wanted people to be like, wow, this guy is nuts. Like, Keith is insane. And then I had to get an ambulance came to get me, and I went to the hospital from the show, and I got stuck in Texas for a week. But it was worth it because it's like now that has gone down. Everyone's like, Keith Apicary shattered his heel, did a show, and he got stuck in Texas. Like, it adds to the whole story of him. And if I just went to the hospital as Nathan, they'd be like, oh, Nathan broke his foot and he had to leave. It's like so lame. So yeah, and that's another reason I feel like it could be good for wrestling because I'll just go through it with a broken foot, and my foot was disgustingly black and blue. It was like messed up. It was real bad. But anyways, I just kept going. So I was like, well, all this stuff I do is so much like wrestling. I may as well try to do it as Keith.
Sure. Now, Nathan, you've been featured in music videos, commercials, TV shows. What's next for you? Do you have any projects in the works that maybe you could probably let some of your fans know about, or is it all top secret right now?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like it's like I'm kind of like I feel stupid sometimes saying like, well, I got all this stuff going on because then if it doesn't actually go through, then it's like,
I know how it works. Yeah.
But like it's things because there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Like I've done 2 pilots for Comedy Central, and we're talking with them right now about another one. I just sold a cartoon to Nickelodeon last week with my brother, so we're writing that right now, and that'll be animated, and there'll be like an actual pilot, and then they'll watch it and see if they want it to go to air. There's something else happening. There's like 3 shows. There's a thing we're talking to Netflix about. A lot of like in talk.
Sure, man. You're all over the place. Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm doing an adult swim commercial next week, and then I'm going to Norway for a Norwegian soda commercial. That'll be cool. So there's like a lot of like other things like that happening that just like keep me afloat as I'm going.
Yeah, man.
But
You're
I'm
busy.
always working. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and then on top of it, in my spare time, I'm also on this Disney show. I'm on the second season we're shooting right now. I'm the goofy adult that the kids hang out with. It's called Kirby Buckets. So we're in season 2 right now, and we're shooting that. So in the meantime, I just shoot like all my videos for the internet, and I'm like pushing the whole Keith wrestling thing, and I'm thinking, dang, if this like happens, what am I going to do? There's too much going on, but I just kind of go full steam, and then whatever sticks and happens, I just go for it. The first thing that like goes. So yeah, I'm just hoping. It's one show that we're working on with Comedy Central right now. We're also talking to Netflix, and whoever gets like the best deal, whoever likes it the most, and like doesn't want to alter it too much a way we don't want to, that's who we'll go with. But that's like the big show. Awesome. It'd be like a live action show for me. So that's created by me and my brother Seth and my friend Paul Cummings, who directs a lot of the bigger videos we do on the internet.
All right.
So
now
yeah.
As a comedian, actor, and everything that you're doing, what do you think is the ultimate goal for you? Is it to get one of these shows to go, or do you have higher aspirations? Do you want to be in movies, or what's the thing that Nathan's really shooting for right now?
I want to do like my own thing, kind of like what Sacha Baron Cohen has done. Where like he didn't really audition for movies as an actor. Like Jim Carrey, I took more of the traditional route, but he was so original. He kind of like made his own path at the same time of taking a traditional route. Like he got on a TV show and then did movies. Like Sacha Baron Cohen kind of creates his own thing, and sort of like Danny McBride and Seth Rogen, they kind of like create their own thing after they've made a name for themselves. So if I get cast on a show or something, like some Fox show or something, I would try to immediately transition it into my own thing. So I'm like creating and writing all these shows all the time with my brother and my friend Paul. So hopefully one of these goes through, and then people will be like, oh, this guy, I've seen him before. And then like I'll get more known, and then I'll just transition into features and do movies. I also wrote my own movie that I'm going to try to shoot this summer. So add that to the huge list of things to do.
Nice.
But it's like a full feature, and we're trying to shoot it on film or like, you know, a red or something really nice so it looks like an actual feature. We don't want it to look like some B movie or just some independent film. We want it to be like a straight up legit movie and like, you know, submit it to festivals and put it out, because I need to do something bigger. Because like I've done videos my entire life. Since I was 14, I've been shooting videos and putting them on cable access and VHS tapes, and now YouTube is just basically the same thing. And it's like I always have ideas, so I just have to shoot the things I think of. But now I'm like, okay, I gotta take a break from videos, because the more I do it, it's just like a wormhole. You just get stuck and you won't get out of it. You just keep doing all these ideas. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna write this feature. I wrote it, and now I'm gonna shoot it this summer, so I can at least show people something else and be like, oh, okay, he does other things. Because I feel like you can't be seen for something that you don't do. You have to like you have to like show people what you want to be known for and show them what you can do. So if I just do a full feature, people will be like, oh, okay, he can act. He doesn't just fall down all the time. So
Sure.
Yeah, it's tough, but like you just kind of like make whatever you think of at the time.
Sure.
And I can't just go make a movie. You have to take a big break from everything else to do it.
Sure. And if you're ever looking for two extras, I know two white guys from New York and Connecticut that we're always glad to stand in if you need anybody out there. So
okay, nice. Well, if you want to be a person on the side of a desert road this summer in this movie, then you got it. Okay, cool.
There you go. Well, let's get back into a little bit of wrestling. You kind of briefly mentioned that you did still watch today. Do you actively watch? Do you even have time with everything you're doing with what's going on now? Because I mean, there's like wrestling on every night of the week. You got even the WWE Network now. You can even go back and watch old school stuff. So are you currently watching, or you just watch whenever you can catch it?
No, I do. I actually watch every week. I watch every Raw and every SmackDown. Last week I watched Raw on set of the Disney show. I watched, I don't know if you've ever used that site, Watch Wrestling Online. They load Raw in like 19 parts. I watched it like that while we were shooting, because I just wanted to know what's going on, because I'm like kind of, sort of involved right now, because I need to know certain things that are happening based on the video I'm making and stuff. So I'm really into it. So I watch every week. If I don't watch it, because I have the network, but I don't put it on the network right away. So I don't have cable. I just have like Apple TV and stuff. So I usually watch it on Hulu the next morning if I don't mirror it to my TV and watch it for free on the internet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I watch it every week, and I watch every pay-per-view. So awesome. I'm big into it. Sometimes I'm actually so into it now. I start to feel guilty, like almost like I've got to watch it too much, and I should be doing something else because I have to watch it. But I just get like that guilt of like doing too much of one thing.
Sure.
Well, is there people right now that you when you watch wrestling that you don't get the character, or you just don't like the character?
Well, there's a lot of characters that I like wish were something else. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm 34 and I loved the 80s and 90s wrestling, but I just thought it was a lot more fun when there was a character. I just rewatched the Ultimate Warrior versus what's his name, the Giant Gonzalez or whatever. It's at WrestleMania. I think it was WrestleMania 9 or something.
Sure. Yep.
One of the WrestleManias. And I was like, Ultimate Warrior. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know if I said Ultimate Warrior. The Undertaker is what I meant to say.
Undertaker. Yep.
If I didn't say that. So I was watching that, and the Undertaker was just so, I was so like, I stare at him, and I was so captivated, just the way he would sit up, and his costume was kind of cheesy, but it was still like different, and he was so silent, and he moved slow. He was like a good character without doing much, and I didn't know who he was as a person, and I like that. I like just thinking of him as a character, and like all the other wrestlers were like, the Ultimate Warrior was like this crazed lunatic from like some other world or other dimension, which didn't make any sense, but I bought into it. And Macho Man, you never heard Macho Man talking like himself. I didn't know he lived in Connecticut or wherever he lived, and I just liked that because they were like these larger than life things. But now it's just like Steve versus Dave and Bill versus the other Bill. I just feel like that's basically what the characters are. It's like Luke Harper versus John Cena versus so-and-so. It's like, what is, I don't know if that happened because the MMA got popular and like WWE's trying to like be similar to like the use their regular names and they're like fighters and they're not wrestling characters. Like I wish I'm like, why don't they just make a guy a mailman? It's a really weak character, but at least he's different. And he's a mailman. That's his gimmick. And he throws letters at people. And a finishing move could be called a letter opener or something, or like the return to sender. I just feel like it could be so much cooler. I just love characters, but that's probably my preference. And I hear other people say it, but I don't know. Whatever. WWE's going to do whatever they want. But so that, saying all that, I feel like I have a complaint with almost every wrestler who isn't like a big character. Like I feel like Bray Wyatt could be so much more than what he is, because for a while I think they had him lose the fedora hat. That bothered me a lot. He just like a bearded Silver Lake, California hipster guy with a vacation shirt and a fedora hat, and like I was like, is he actually like a scary like murderer from the middle of the woods or what? He wasn't like defined enough for me. And I know he's a great wrestler and he's amazing on the microphone, but I feel like there's like one thing missing that could have like really pushed him over the edge. And I don't know, maybe it's because I come from like an acting background, not that I'm like the best actor in the world, but I like really like to like think about characters and I want to like be lost in that character. And if people actually fooled, and I'll do like these pranks in real life and people think these characters are for real, even like out of the peg leg, they think I think I'm missing a leg. And I just like really fooling people, and that's kind of the magic for me, is being lost in these characters and not knowing who they are, where they live, what they do. And it's nowadays it's all like the kayfabe is like such a finer line now, or I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but like there's such a small difference between the real person and their character. And that I'm seeing all these Tough Enough auditions, I feel like no one's really doing characters; they're just doing themselves. And they all sound the same, and they all look the same. And there's like, in my opinion, if I was casting this, I'd be like, dang, everyone's the same. They're saying the same exact sentences verbatim. No one's doing it to anything different. Even if they don't tell you, like, they want to see you as you, I feel like just do something else and break the rules and like do the whole thing like upside down on your head, or like, you know, do the whole audition like suspended in the air or something, just to like, and say you're a guy who like is floating and he's, you know, he has sci-fi abilities. I don't know. I'm just like saying random crap right now, but I feel like these auditions are so boring to me, and because everyone was just doing what they think WWE wants, which is a regular people. And I don't know why they do that. So that's my long-winded complaint about characters in general. But I think a lot of the characters could have like a character wrestlers could have a character makeover. No one really stands out to me at all in the WWE right now that I like love, you know.
Yeah.
But I still watch it, so it's working, I guess.
Sure.
Well, I just have to go back and say that a postal worker gimmick would really deliver.
See,
I had to do it. I had to do it
already.
See,
so many puns. Like even that. Like, can you make a pun about Luke Harper? You can't, because he's just a guy who just looks like your uncle. He's just like a normal guy who's got a beard. So does every other wrestler. And he's got long hair. So does every other wrestler. I don't know. I just think there's so much more to a character.
Sure.
Even like IRS. He was just an IRS guy. But at least you knew. You could be like, oh, the IRS guy. But now you're describing your friend, you know, the guy who's got the beard. Oh, wait, the one with the flannel? Well, yeah, he was a flannel too. It's like, it's so hard to decipher the difference between everybody. So,
absolutely.
I don't know. I think there's many reasons to make everyone more of a character. But since they're not doing that, there must be a reason for it. Like, they must not want that for some reason. But, whatever.
Sure. Now, well, let's get to what everybody's really confused about. You are also Keith Apicary. What you don't know is that Jonathan actually introduced me to you online, and he's like, Steve, do you know who Keith Apicary is? I'm like, no, let me Google it. I Googled it, and then I watched one video, and then I watched and I just watched pretty much all your videos in a matter of like a span of 2 days at work, where I was actually just watching your videos and not doing my actual work. But
oh, that's awesome.
You know, so it snowballed into that, and I was like, we have to find this guy. We have to get him on. We have to talk to him. But Nathan, how did you come up with this character? Because, you know, the one way we found you is because we saw that, you know, Keith was into wrestling. So we were like, we have to interview him. How did you come up with this character? Was it just one day, like, I have this guy, or did it come through time where you're just trying different things?
It was over like a matter of a month that I kind of came up with him because like I was trying different characters for these like live shows and I was coming up with different names. I had the name Apicary. I like that last name. I like words with like names with vowels in them, and just Apicary is like a fun word to say. So originally I did a show out here as a guy named Sloan Apicary, and he was like an ex-con. And he's a real idiot, and he's kind of rambled about how he just got out of jail, and he says all these stupid things. I don't really remember the bit, but it was an ex-con. And then later, I bought an arcade game. I bought a Neo Geo, and I was really into that documentary, The King of Kong. I thought it was like awesome because I liked all the characters in it because they were like real people with it, but they're so like funny and like real actual nerds and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just loved it, like how passionate they were about video games. They didn't care about any other thing in their life, and that was like the biggest thing to them. And it was just a great documentary. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool to do a character and load a scene on the internet as if it was. And there was another documentary out around the same time called Chasing Ghosts. It was like a video game documentary, and I love video games. I have like a lot of arcade games myself now, but I've always played video games my entire life. So I had like this Virtual Boy and Sega CD, and I had all these props in my house. And I was like, okay, I should do this character who's obsessed with video games. He's from Rhode Island, which is like where I'm from. I'm from Massachusetts. So Woonsocket, Rhode Island was like a funny town to me and my brother because it's like this kind of like gross town that everyone makes fun of back home. So I was like, all right, I'll do this character. And I decided to call him Keith. So I was like, all right, I won't do a weird name because I have this other character named Trail Luau and Simmons DuPont. And the names are a little weird. So like, I'll do a regular name, Keith, and I'll use that Apicary name, and I'll shoot the scene as if it's a documentary from an excerpt from some video game documentary, and I want people to think this is like a real person. So I loaded it as like a scene from a documentary called Talking Classics, and I loaded it online. This was before I was like popular on the internet. I had like 7,000 subscribers, and my biggest known character was Trail Luau, this self-proclaimed spokesperson for candy companies, and he just made horrible commercials for candy companies that didn't need the assistance. So he was like all people already knew me as. I put this Keith one up, and I got such a response from like people that knew me. They're like, this character is amazing. He's so funny. He's so like endearing, but he's stupid and he's nice. And I feel bad for him. He says the dumbest things. He has a speech impediment, and people like loved him. And my parents were like, that might be your best character. So I was like, okay, I'll do another one. So I kept doing different episodes of Talking Classics, and it got really popular. Then Screw Attack picked it up, and Game Trailers, the website picked it up, and then I got asked to do music videos. So Keith has gone so far. He's done Flow Rider music video, did a Lady at the Bell music video. I did the Adult Swim pilot was based on Keith Apicary. He's definitely like my biggest character. Oh, that's the other thing I'm working on. I'm working on a game show also with Netflix and the Yo Gabba Gabba producers with Keith Apicary. The Keith Apicary video game show. That's going to be insane. That's like next level.
Yeah.
So crazy. So anyway, so Keith has done a lot. And I was like, okay, Keith's awesome. I love wrestling, and wrestling world and the video game world are very similar world. Like a lot of similar people like video games that watch wrestling. So I'll start getting Keith into wrestling because I feel like I kind of played out the video game thing, and I can only like talk about video games so long because everyone's doing video games and let's plays now. So I was like, I'll transition him into something else. So just to keep me interested in doing Keith. So I started doing Keith and getting him into wrestling, and that's kind of how he happened, where I just wanted to I wanted people to think he was real, and it worked. And then when I go to video game conventions, I never broke character, and some people still do think Keith is real, and I don't think they actually know who I am because a lot of people don't click into the other videos and look at the other stuff. So and then they meet me in real life, and they're like, "Oh, I guess that is him. He's the way he is." So I get comments all the time in videos like, "Is Keith real? Who's Keith? Who's Nathan?" And like people think Nathan is just like the director of these videos, which is funny. So, and in my picture on my YouTube, I have a beard and I look nothing like Keith. So I like tricking people. So that's the origin story of Keith Apicary. And I was practicing his voice one night, just driving around for a couple of hours, doing the voice in the car, trying to get the lisp just right so it didn't sound too hokey or too charactery. So
sure,
yeah, that's Keith.
Well, now that we got the backstory, why did Keith single out Dolph Ziggler? It could have been anybody. So why was it Dolph Ziggler?
So my friend Justin, who at the time I wasn't watching wrestling very heavily, this was 2012, I was doing a lot of I was shooting a lot and I was performing a lot, so I wasn't really up onto what's happening in wrestling. So I talked to my friend Justin, who's like super into wrestling, and he's friends with like John Morrison and stuff, and that's how I met John Morrison. And I was like, hey, Keith wants to call out a wrestler. Who do you think would be a good one or a funny one? for Keith to call out, and he goes, "You gotta call out Dolph Ziggler." Like, he's like a big fan of comedy, and he has this internet show called The Download. He's like, "I bet you if anyone's gonna respond, it'll be him because he does the show every week." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." So Justin was in my first video of Keith calling out Dolph Ziggler, and what do you know? Like the next week, Dolph actually tweeted me, sent me a message like, "This was hilarious, man." So he got WWE to let him to like respond, and there's this whole back and forth for like 4 episodes from each of us, and then you know if you've seen it all, you know what happens, and now it's kind of like faded off because he can't physically wrestle me because he would get in trouble for like making contact with me, and and I'm not like signed with WWE. But now he's in the latest Keith video because I was doing a show with the UCB that he was also in, so we kind of just met up at the show, and then after the show did that shot. So yeah, he's just down to do stuff because he's a real fan of comedy. So it was like perfect.
All right,
and he's actually my favorite. He's my favorite wrestler after started getting back into it since 2012. Like he's like, in my opinion, the best that they have right now, skill wise as like a worker, and he's just great on the mic. I wish he would do a little bit more of a hard character. I guess he's kind of going for like the 80s thing right now, the 80s rocker guy, sort of. But, whatever. He can only do what they want him to do. But I think he's the best they have.
Sure. And now, so that feud went on for a while and ultimately culminated with some pretty epic back and forth between both of you. Did WWE show any interest in even trying to use you? Or, because I know we're going to get to the tough enough stuff soon, but, because you are a character, and I don't know. Was there any talk of even trying to work with them before this whole tough enough stuff started?
Well, they did get in touch with us after WWE. I don't know who was like really producing the videos before on Dolph's end, or if they're just letting him go do it with a cameraman and then they just loaded it. Mm-hmm. But someone at WWE must have been aware of this happening because it went on their YouTube page. But apparently, after someone at WWE found out about it, was like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" They saw like Keith's victory dance had like over 1 million views, and they're like, "What is this?" And then they were like, "This is great. Let's do some more." So that's what spurred the other episodes that were called A Wrestled Development, yeah. Which was the series of Keith and Dolph in their feud. There's only like 2 episodes, but they they set that up and they paid me to make those videos. So that was cool. And I was like, okay, they're getting behind it. Maybe this can go somewhere. But it still ultimately never led to us in the ring in some sort of a showdown and like a match. And that's what I've always wanted it to go to. So depending on what happens now, because like they know me and we have like contacts now at WWE through that. So, and they're all well aware of this Keith applying for Tough Enough. Yeah. So I'm just waiting. My manager talked to someone over there recently, and we're supposed to have some sort of talk about what can be done with Keith. So who knows what's going to happen? It's very hard to get in touch with them because they're always like traveling so much, and like whenever we're supposed to talk to them, it like doesn't happen on the day they say it's going to because they're just insanely busy traveling every day. So I'm just kind of being patient and waiting to see what will happen and if they want to do anything more with Keith.
Sure.
Well, I will tell you that I live probably 15, 20 minutes from WWE headquarters, so I can always take a giant Keith head and just run around headquarters until someone lets me in. So.
Oh my God! You know how I would actually want to talk to you about possibly doing that, because if you did something like that, if you like went to the headquarters with a sign, a Keith sign or a face, I would do that in a video because
we gotta go, Jonathan. We gotta go.
I can. Like I said, I can be there. I don't know if you saw like in Chicago, whenever like they're always at like shows, someone will have like a probably 3-4 foot tall like Colt Cabana head.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm seriously. I have to find out how that can be made, but I'm gonna get like a key or whatever you want, whatever you tell me to do. I can get.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So recently
anytime.
There was the Raw after. I don't know if it was after WrestleMania or something. There was a Raw. No, it was the first one in London that they did recently. There was a giant head that kept being on the screen. Then Ms. Dow and Summer Rae went up into the audience, and the head was right there. The person was holding a head, and it looked like a Keith head for so long that people were tweeting me like, "There's a Keith head, there's a Keith head," because people have there's a Keith sign at WrestleMania 39. I think 2 years ago. There was a Keith sign that says, "Keith's coming for you, Dolph Ziggler." During Dolph Ziggler's match, you can see it. And there's some Keith sent me a message and said he brought a Keith sign to NXT all last week for all their tapings. So there's people that are doing it. I'm trying to get screen grabs of like footage of them and use them in a video to show WWE, like, look, the universe has spoken. They want Keith. So if you were to go to the headquarters, that would be so funny because no one else could or would do. I don't think like the easiest thing for them to do is go to a show, you know?
Yeah.
It's so funny if you're just running around like, you know, Keith is coming up with a sign or a head. Oh my gosh, man! If you want to, I would definitely use that.
It's gonna happen. I'm already thinking I'm gonna do NX Keith. I'm gonna do.
Oh, that's awesome!
Oh yeah, it's happening. Don't you worry.
Well, AWP is on Keith Apicary's side.
WWE Keith
is a one that people are saying. So yeah, whatever you want. That sounds amazing.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we'll definitely talk, but I'm seriously so close. They had a while back. They had like one of those like quality control things where they like sent out an email and they wanted people to find out like what they liked about the website. And so I actually got paid like $70 to go and talk to them about the website at headquarters and then like leave. But it's just it was cool. Like it's so close to me. It's literally almost in my backyard. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, man. Well, that's oh gosh, that'd be amazing. I don't know what else to say.
We're the
it's gonna
East
happen.
Coast connection for you right there.
Well, thank you so much.
I feel like I really wanted to tell you about this too. Like I think May 24th there's a Westchester County show. So I actually work for Westchester County, and so they do a show down in White Plains, New York. And I always get tickets. So like Steve and I are going to go to that. So we're going to make signs for that too. So it'll be like an event and we'll have it for the headquarters thing as well. So
oh, nice. Is that a WWE live event?
Yeah. Yep.
Like a house show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. At like house shows, pictures like anywhere with WWE shows are great, or little clips of just like somebody just holding a sign. If you were to like do like a 2-second video of you like, yeah, Keith, and you see the ring or something, that'd be awesome. Because I wanted to do a montage of just like the WWE universe, like, you know, saying what they want, and I could just use that as in a segment. So, oh man.
Keith is training to be on WWE's Tough Enough. What steps has Keith taken to show that he is indeed tough enough?
Really, Keith has just kind of shown, I think, his heart and his determination and his desire to do it, and some physical ability that he can take a hit and he can get right back up, and he has some skill in the ring. But mostly, I think it's just, if you look at the body of work he's been putting up for so long now, wrestling-related stuff, he's been doing it for like 2 years, and he's not stopping. So he really wants it. So I think he's just showing that he won't give up until he gets there.
All right.
Did I answer that question right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Every time I start answering, I'm like, wait, am I even answering the right question? Am I listening?
No. And now Keith has lots of support, too, from people such as Macaulay Culkin, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi, Garfunkel Oates, among others. What about Keith resonates with all these people, do you think?
I think it's like, because it's kind of like what many wrestlers are, like Daniel Bryan. Like, he's like an everyman, but he's even more of an everyman because he's like the guy you see working at, you know, in the Geek Squad, or like fixing computers somewhere at Best Buy or at the convenience store, or stocking shelves at Target. He's like an actual real person who goes to these wrestling conventions and video game conventions and plays video games at home. And he's like a really real person. So I think, and he's like, you know, funny and endearing. So I think all these comedians like that he has passion and that he's, you know, comedic, and also he's done many projects with them in the past. Well, I have, so that's what kind of helps. So
all right.
I think, it's just he's an everyman, but like on a different level than like a Daniel Bryan or a Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
An underdog, I guess, is what I should say. Everyone loves a good underdog story.
Yeah. Now
he's like all the way under.
With pro wrestling always evolving and fans searching for like the next big thing or new alternatives, how do you think Keith fits into this? Do you think that fans have been clamoring for something like Keith for a while now?
Well, I think so. I'm gonna try to not make this answer too long, like I always do. But I think so because I expected a real harsh backlash from like real wrestling fans, like especially on Reddit and on Squared Circle, and even in the comments of the video. They usually get ripped apart by super fans of things. They're like, "Who do you think you are? You're making a mockery of this." Like that's what I expected. But there's been 99.9% positive response to this entire thing. I've read like thousands of comments on Reddit. Things are being upvoted so much. There's GIFs everywhere. There's news media picking this up. There's websites picking it up. It's being played on like local news in different cities and states. And it's crazy how people are like really getting behind Keith. And I'm surprised because I thought the wrestling fans would be hating it. And they're not. They're actually like, yes, go Keith. This would be perfect for WWE. Everyone's saying like the resounding opinion seems to be that people want WWE to do something original and new, and this is the perfect character, and he could be like, everyone's saying he's like the next Santino or Doink the Clown. You know, he's just like, he's a good comedic relief who can actually do some work and take a bump. So I think people want that. So maybe I'm not the only one who thinks there needs to be more characters in WWE, unless this is just all other 34-year-olds speaking. But either way, I'm very surprised. I expect a lot of like, trolls and negative people to be commenting. There has been so little of that, so I think people want it.
Sure, and like you said, like that, but also word on the street is WWE was also impressed with not only Keith but some of your work too. Any chance though, if we don't see Keith on Tough Enough, that we may see Nathan take a stab at writing or possibly editing stuff for WWE?
I don't think so. I don't know if I would be able to do it because it's tough. I don't want to leave California. I really like it here. And my girlfriend actually just had a couple of interviews with WWE to be a writer, and we talked to Dolph about it. And just what they were telling her about the job was it sounds brutal. Like they're traveling all the time. Only day off is on Wednesday, and they're on a plane traveling back to Connecticut because it's a mandatory meeting every Thursday at the headquarters. So really, it's just 24/7 traveling and writing, and a lot of the ideas don't get used. So it's like, you start to feel frustrated and defeated. I don't think I would ever want to do that. I'm too much of a performer, and I just want to use my physical abilities and be able to perform what I write. So, and I only edit and shoot things because I have to, and I've gotten good at that because it's been like, it's a necessity. In order to make videos, I just had to learn how to do all that stuff.
Sure.
So I don't ever want to do that outside of my videos. I just can't wait for the day when I have my own show and I can just show up and be funny. That's what I'm really shooting for. I don't have to do all this other grunt work and do every aspect of the job. So I wouldn't do that, but I would love to do something. I would do something as Nathan for WWE if they wanted me to perform and they weren't so into Keith and they wanted maybe another character. I would definitely do that. That'd be fun. So I'm not married to Keith being on WWE. If they want anybody else, or just Nathan, the goofy bald guy, I would do that.
Well,
yeah.
we kind of spoke about the WWE Network taking off and shows by people such as Seth Green and now even Jerry Springer making the rounds. What kind of show would you want to create? I know you kind of talked about it, but is there multiple things that you want to do with that?
Yeah, there's a couple of ideas. The bigger ideas are more like narrative type shows with an ensemble cast. One, I guess you could sort of relate to Freaks and Geeks, but it's about the teachers. And then there's underground wrestling involved in that show with my character. So that's one thing I'd like to pitch to them. And then there is a Keith show where it's Keith, who's like this ultimate wrestling fan, and he's trying to become a professional wrestler. So there's that. And then there was also this other wild card idea that was a little bit more like a cheaper thing to produce and do. And it was a prank show involving wrestlers. The wrestlers are getting pranked and pulling pranks. And I'm kind of I guess you could say the Ashton Kutcher of the show, because I do a lot of pranks on the internet. And I do lots of physical comedy, and a lot of them maybe wouldn't recognize me. So it could work for me to be like the guy pranking these people. So some version of that was another one. So there's a couple of ideas I'm throwing out there, but I'm really into the Keith one and the other more ensemble cast, Freaks and Geeks type one. So maybe if they're into it, I'll do it.
Awesome. Well, Nathan, I mean, we talked a lot with you tonight. We got to find out a little bit more about you, aside from Keith, which is great, man. I wish you nothing but success. For everybody listening out there, though, once again, if they're listening to this for the first time, if they're listening to you for the first time and just don't know where to go to find all your videos, how about you drop some links on the fans right now and tell them where they can find everything and everything about Nathan Barnatt?
Well, you can just search, you can just go to youtube.com/Barnatt, and it's a barn, like an animal barn, and then ATP, like the phone company, Barnatt. And just go to youtube.com/Barnatt, and you'll find me, or just search Nathan Barnatt. A lot of times I tell people just to search Nathan Dance, because my dance videos are some of the more popular things. And then once you find one of those, just click on my name, and you'll find everything else. There's a little bit too much it's like 300 something videos on there, so it's a lot of nonsense. But yeah, it's all on my YouTube page. That's how you can see most things.
I would definitely suggest starting with Youth Large if it was up to me.
Oh, nice, thanks. Yeah, that's the Adult Swim pilot. We did a half-hour show. We did last year, 2 years ago with Keith. Man, that would have been so much fun to do. So hopefully, maybe we'll get a chance to do it with another network. And Comedy Central actually had us do their version of it afterwards. They liked it, and then they had us write another script for them to see if maybe they'd want to have their version, and it didn't go through. Or maybe another network will want to pick it up. So maybe Fox is next. We'll just keep going around, selling ourselves out to the networks and using the same idea. Whatever it takes to get it on there, get it on TV.
Awesome.
So thank you for liking it. Thank you for watching it.
Oh, no problem. It's something pretty amazing, and it's got Kyle Mooney in it, who's now on Saturday Night Live, which is crazy. So
yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
Kyle's awesome. Hilarious.
Awesome. Nathan, well, we thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Okay, cool. Thank you.